this workout being, this event specifically being textbook CrossFit here. The goblet, 7 rounds of 7 ring muscle ups, the hill run, and the 11 goblet squats at 88 pounds. I love that we're here at pretty much the apex of the competition with only 200 points left on the floor. The race is so tight, and now we're just going to do exactly what we do in the form of traditional CrossFit.
Here are your lane assignments, and your 3 leaders will be in lanes 4, 5, and 6. Justin Medeiros with precious little room to spare between himself, Chandler Smith, and Roman Krennikov, as we have seen 5 changes on top of the overall leaderboard so far in this competition. And we are underway, and Roman Krennikov, 3rd place overall, coming off a 12th place in that last event.
Exactly, and that's what we've seen throughout the course of this entire Rogue Invitational is back and forth, back and forth. How are these athletes, specifically Roman Krennikov, going to rebound from a 12th place when he is right there within striking distance of taking home the gold here this year? And that's what we're going to really see. He's a bigger athlete. How will he manage the high volume of 49 ring muscle-ups and all of this running compared to some of the lighter athletes in this field?
Everybody getting off the rings at about the same time. Patrick Vellner in that light blue shirt was one of the first men. Ricky Garrard with no shirt on the right side, slightly in the lead on this first hill run. 21 reps per round. Ricky Garrard and Vellner are out front, along with Jeff Adler. He's in that tank top. Patrick Vellner currently in 4th place overall. He's just 25 points back of Roman Krennikov for 3rd.
And I want everyone to remember, one of the keys to focus on this particular event is smooth as fast. You know, we weren't talking about Cole Sager in the first 2 rounds of that last heat. All of a sudden, he continued to sustain his pace, establish one that he knew he could hold through the 7 rounds, and that allowed him to have an advantage on the rest of these competitors, some of which came out too hot.
And Vellner is off first, going back to the rings along with Adler and Garrard.
All these athletes doing textbook ring muscle-ups, smooth in their swing, driving those hips open, fast transition. Chandler Smith there is catching pretty high above a right angle with his elbow. This is going to allow him to save some of his shoulders and his triceps, which are, I would imagine, extremely fatigued after what those athletes did this morning.
Vellner, Adler, Garrard, and Koski, the first 4 men off their 2nd round of muscle-ups. And they're making their way back up the hill. Garrard on the right side of your screen along with Jeffrey Adler. You saw Patrick Vellner looking over his left shoulder to see where his competition is at this point. He makes the turn. There goes Medeiros and Chandler Smith.
Lean and fall, boys. When you turn and you get going down that hill, allow yourself to lean and fall as best you can. Try not to decelerate your body. That's going to suck more energy out of your quads. And you got to use those things to squat.
Ricky Garrard leads the way here back to the goblet for the 2nd time. Adler and Vellner in 2nd and 3rd. Quant, Gudmundsson, along with Jonakoski behind them. Jason Hopper closest to the camera on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. There's Chandler Smith, who is just 5 points back of Justin Medeiros for the overall lead. Patrick Vellner staying in front with Adler and Garrard. Koski in 4th, followed by Gudmundsson and Quant. Medeiros right now 5th in the event, but he's ahead of the 2 men immediately behind him in the overall standings. Chandler Smith and Roman Krennikov, as Roman was the last man done with that set of goblet squats as he heads back to the rings to begin round 3 of 7.
And that's what you've got to assume about Justin, is that he has the awareness. Clearly being a 2-time champion, it would be remiss to go unsaid that he knows exactly what he needs to do and who he needs to beat. And he's going to try to run this race appropriately so that he ends up with more points than those that are nipping at his heels.
So Ricky Garrard out front here. And Garrard got off to a great start, back-to-back third-place finishes, but then an 18th, a 10th, an 11th, and an 18th, 4 straight events outside the top 10, or 10th or lower, and then a third place looks like it was going to get him back on track in the Texas Oak, but then came back this morning and finished 17th. He currently sits in 12th place overall. Pat Vellner is in second place, followed by Jeff Adler, top 3. Starting to put some distance between themselves and the rest of the field here in the second and final heat. Cole Sager's time to beat is in the upper right-hand part of your screen.
And Sean, there was a time when an event like this would get announced and I'd automatically say, hey, Pat Vellner's going to run away with this one. An individual with extremely high capacities for just work, let alone he's an excellent mover and excels tremendously at the ring muscle up. And now we've just got athletes that have come up through this sport that can challenge his ability to, even on a workout like this where he would notoriously have high levels of success, and he still can. He's certainly an athlete that I'm keeping my eye on.
The 3 rounds are down for Vellner, Adler, and Garrard as Roman Krennikov is in last place in this heat right now.
And that's our story there. He's one of the bigger competitors on the field right now, which allows him to have great success in many tests. This one was one where my question mark was, how will he respond to the volume of the 49 ring muscle-ups accompanied with the light load and all the body weight moving on that run?
Garrard and Vellner, along with Adler, are still your top 3. They are in rounds 4 of 7 right now. Justin Medeiros is staying ahead of Chandler Smith. Medeiros only has a 5-point cushion over Smith for the top spot in the overall standings. We still have 1 event to go here as Roman Krennikov is back onto the rings. There goes Justin Medeiros. He's trying to become the first man to repeat as Rogue Invitational champion. And Patrick Vellner is trying to keep his streak alive. He's been on the podium every year at the Rogue Invitational, and he was your 2020 champion.
Yeah, and right now, with the way Roman is appearing in this event, Pat certainly got a chance. The door is going to be open for him, being only 25 points off.
There is Roman Krennikov, who is in last place in the heat. Medeiros is on his goblet squats. Vellner and Garrard are done, and Adler is finished as well. And they are through 4 of the 7 rounds. In the back half of this event now, 147 total score repetitions.
Yeah, and here we are. We're at this point where Medeiros is just going to do what he can to conserve what he can and still stay just out of arm's reach of Chandler. He knows at any given point another competitor could potentially make a run or make a push, and he wants to conserve as much energy as he can while maintaining his lead.
Pat Vellner trails Medeiros by 35 points. Now, to make that up, if Vellner were to win this event, Medeiros would have to finish 8th. Vellner and Garrard are starting to pull away from Jeff Adler. Adler making his way up the hill.
Sean, there's something uniquely trying about this test, too. The way that Chris Spieler and Josh Bridges, beautifully wrote this thing up is that because there's 7 rounds, it turns into such a psychological test. We're so used to in competition, fast events, 3 rounds, chipper style, 1 round through. But to see the same competitors beside you 7 rounds consecutively, it becomes very mentally trying. How can I keep this lead? How do I stay close? They're all questions that you start to have to manage and deal with individually as you're out there in the field of battle. And there we are with Roman. Striking distance within first place, and just backing off to a trot, essentially. You got to wonder, has this accumulation of volume for the last 4 days starting to really add up for Roman? Is this a response to a training season for him? Has he not had the same intensity and volume in preparation for the Rogue Invitational? And as a rookie here, that's a legitimate concern.
Ricky Garrard has finished round 5, as have Adler and Vellner. And the 3 of them are right around Cole Sager's pace from round 1.
We talk about smooth as fast. If I had to judge simply by looking at these athletes, Pat and Ricky are both gearing up for a heck of a ladder run here in this event because they both look under control.
Vellner done first, back in the lead here.
We're going to learn a lot here about how Pat chooses to, or not to, attack this hill. But I think right now, composure-wise, he looks like he's in complete control.
Adler has moved about a couple steps ahead of Ricky Garrard on the right side. Pat Vellner all by himself here in round 6. 1 round remains after this. Roman Krennikov has fallen way off the pace. He is closing out round 5. Here comes Vellner back to the goblet squats for the 6th time.
Right to work, no pause, no hesitation.
He was able to get 9 reps before Adler started. So Vellner is done. 1 round remains. He's trying to track down Cole Sager's time of 16.29 seconds. And the way this is shaping up, Pat Vellner could find himself very close to Justin Medeiros for the overall lead. Again, Vellner trails Medeiros by 35 points for first. If Pat wins this event, he earns 100 points. Medeiros has got to finish better than 8th place to hang on to his lead.
And this is where that competition expands beyond Medeiros and the 2 men beside him, right? You've got to have this awareness of what is the point separation, how well do I need to fare even to the competitors who are sitting in 4th and 5th.
Final muscle up for Vellner. He is done. Chandler Smith is behind Medeiros. Medeiros is on the right side of your screen, just leaned over to take a breath and is getting ready to hop up on the rings. And Chandler's had a great past 3 events. Nothing worse than 3rd place, and he has an event win in the Texas Oak. Vellner crests the hill and works his way back down for the final time. 16.29 seconds, and Vellner's going to have to hurry here.
Yeah, and you wonder if he's aware, does he see, does he even know how close he is to that time at this point out on the field? Or is he more concerned with coming away with a win here in this heat?
Vellner for the final time. Really going to have to rip through these to have a chance to catch Sager. "16 seconds, now 11. Sager might have, or pardon me, Vellner might have a chance. He's got a sprint. I think he may have gotten there.
He got it.
13:15.08 for Vellner, and an event win when he absolutely had to have it. Now here comes Adler. This is going to help Vellner a lot. 13:28.43. Ricky Garrard will be the next man to finish. Now Medeiros is on his final round as well, so doing some damage control is Justin Medeiros. Here comes Ricky Garrard.
Great finish for Ricky.
Medeiros is on his final 2 reps on the goblet squats, and he will come in. But once again, every time we think we might get some clarity in the overall standings after an event, it looks like it's just going to get tighter at the top with one event remaining.
Couldn't write a better script, Sean. And we had BKG cross the finish line. Yona Koski here.
Koski's in. That leaves Hopper, Krenikoff, and Chandler Smith, along with Sam Quant, left on the field. Here comes Smith across the finish line. And Roman Krenikoff, who came in third place, going to fall out of the top three. And will get capped. He needs to get another rep if he can hurry down this hill and pass that pylon.
Yeah, when you see an outlying performance from someone like this as Roman, I mean, this is why we watched him. We didn't know how he would respond to this particular event, but you got to wonder, is it fatigue? Is it cramping? Is it lack of nutrition? You'd think everybody has everything dialed into a science, but you never know, and there's so many factors that lean into affecting the way a competitor can perform in a 4-day series of events like this.
Pat Vellner with the event win, his first of 2022, his 6th career event win at the Rogue Invitational. He's second all-time to Tia Toomey, who has 10. And trying to keep his podium streak alive here. He needed to pick up 30 points on Chandler Smith to get into second.
I've spent some time with Pat, gotten to chat with him in various settings. Pat Vellner's never going to show up just to have a good time. He is here to play and here to go hard to get on top of that podium.
Vellner unofficially is going to pick up 30 points on Medeiros. He will only trail him by 5 going into the final event.
Oh, man.
Roman Krenikoff is going to have some work to do as he finishes outside the top 10.
Yeah, it looks like that could leave him.